Guys, good Tuesday morning. My name is Jerry Miller, and welcome to Real Talk, an insider's guide to real estate, life, and the pursuit of happiness. We're live in Charlottesville, across the Commonwealth, the country, and the world on the I Love CVille Network. We are presented by Yes Realty Partners, a trusted name in the real estate game. They are 11 months away from their one-year birthday, and folks, Yes Realty Partners has already made a tremendous impact in the Central Virginia, Fluvanna County, Albemarle County, and Charlottesville communities. We're powered by Intrastate Service Company, a home's best friend. Intrastate Service Company, a business launched in 1969.
Wow.
1969. We're both right now trying to figure out some quick math.
No, I could do the math because I was born in '63, so I get it.
So 52 years old.
Yeah, sure, wow.
When you're 52 years old in your business, that speaks for itself.
Well, you shared with me this morning, we're going to have some folks on Monday. You want to talk a little bit about that?
We are. So Judah Wickower, studio camera, then let's welcome this distinguished gentleman whose father, we have
a studio audience.
We're going to zang a little bit, Pop right there, his 82nd birthday over there.
We have a studio audience.
We have a studio audience.
Yeah. Normally it's just Liza the dog. Now it's Liza the dog and Pop.
And Pop.
And
Liza the dog and Pop.
Yeah, today is my Pop's 82nd birthday, and he said he wanted to come in and see what the two of us do for 3 times a week. So he's sitting in the studio. So if you hear some boos and hisses and stuff, it's him. It's not Liza the dog, because Liza the dog would never treat us like that. But I just want to say it in front of Pop in the world. Thank you for showing me how it's done. He does it every day. I know I am a better person, a better human, a better man because of him. And if I can grow up, become half the human and half the man he is, I'll be doing something in my life. But do me a favor, don't tell him I said that, okay?
Okay, we will tell him. Okay, one of these days, or 1 minute during this program, we're going to turn this camera around, Pop, so people can see you on screen.
You
got to be on there. You're already getting birthday wishes on screen here, Pop. This is from Nicholas Urpí, who I believe is watching in Ivy or down Barracks Road. He says, "Good morning, gents. Opera is paused, and Nick Urpí is tuned into Real Talk. Ooh. Happy birthday, Smith Sr." So
what are you listening to, Nick?
He's listening to the opera.
I know that, but what?
Oh, okay, yes. Which opera? Let us know, Nicholas Urpí, which opera you are listening to right now, my Renaissance friend. Judah Wickower is our director, and Keith Smith is right on Monday. We are dotting the I's and crossing the T's with Mr. Greg Wells, potentially in studio. He's the second-generation owner of Intrastate Service Company, a business started in 1969, a man that has tremendous vision. We have listings popping up on the feed already that I'm going to relay to you. Pop, get ready for this as well. Mustache Dan Pettit from Real Estate 3, tell Keith to check 824 Jefferson Drive. 824 Jefferson Drive, just listed for $189,000, built in 1996. The sellers bought the home for $193 in 2006, assessed at $155,700. Previous to that, the owner bought for $135,900 in 2004. Rancher at 1,375 square feet. That's Lake Monticello, right, Smith?
It is Lake Monticello, and Dan, text me the listing so I can take a look at it on my trusty Bat iPhone.
There you go. So Mustache Dan Pettit, send that listing to Keith Smith's Bat phone, and we will spotlight that listing here on the program. Good Tuesday morning, Keith Smith.
Same to you, my friend. Like I said earlier on the hot mics walk into the show, I enjoy our Batman and Robin. The roundtables are great. We got an awesome one coming up this Thursday with 2 candidates for the city council. I'm excited about that, particularly after what may or may not happen today at the city council meeting. I think it's going to be an interesting conversation, and much like we've been talking about for 2.5 years, I think we're going to be on the cutting edge of that discussion on Friday, because it's going to be fresh, and we're going to have 2 potential city
city council candidates
for look at this, and we got the Urpís walking in.
Wow, so you were successful. Were you successful? You were. Is that what happened? Are you serious?
No, they canceled this week.
Okay. They canceled this week.
He did not do that. He did not say whatever you said off air.
Well, I hear that works. Give the show a like and a share. Quentin Beckham says, "Good morning, gentlemen. Watching and multitasking." Quentin Beckham, are you in New Hampshire, New England? Where's Quentin Beckham?
No, well, it's top secret. You know, we do not share where the benevolent dictator is at any given time because one never knows. You know, he might just show up. But I think it might be with some surf or something like that.
Oh, at the beach.
It could be at the beach.
Okay.
I'm not saying it
at
could
La
be
Playa, Chico.
Yeah, look at this. We've got
that means beach. That means beach.
We literally got. This is the first time we've actually had a full, except for the. Come on, help me out, Jerry. Except for the telethon.
Telethon.
This is the first time we've ever had an audience.
We have a studio audience. We have the CIO of Emergent Financial Services, the Mariana Rivera of the finance game, Xavier Urpí.
And I want to know.
Oh, he's got questions he wants to ask.
And I want to know why he's reaching for that bottle of rum over there.
Okay. His better half is watching the program right now. Easy.
Guys, we're trying to do a serious show here, okay?
Ask me no questions, QB, the benevolent dictator says. Neil Williamson has got a comment on the feed from VirginiaBusiness.com. 65 acres in Greene County sells for $4.55 million. Merritt Green LLC plans to use the land for mixed-use development. 65 acres in Ruckersville, Keith Smith. This is from Neil Williamson, Free Enterprise Forum. I'll give you the nitty-gritty. Get ready for this, Smith.
So what was the price point on that?
So this is the beautiful thing about the feed right here. President of Free Enterprise Forum, Neil Williamson, we like you. Is it the hot holly, the hot gringo? What sandwich do you like from Paul's Deli in Williamsburg? Let us know in the feed. Here's the headline. It's from VirginiaBusiness.com. 65 acres in Greene County. They sell for $4,555,000. An LLC made the purchase. Merritt Green LLC. This LLC and its principals plan to use the land for mixed-use development.
Sure.
The 65 acres are in Ruckersville, Keith Smith. $4.5 million, Cushman and Wakefield, Tallheimer, part of the deal. They bought the acreage located at 7070 Seminole Trail from Land Properties LLC. Johnny Pritzloff, I was on the phone with you yesterday, JP. Johnny Pritzloff and Jenny Stoner handled the sale on behalf of the seller.
So give us a benchmark there, Neil. Where give me is it near the Starbucks or so forth and so on in that. But look, we've been talking about this for it seems like decades now. The market is moving out. Pop and I on the way in, we were talking about that. Where is the housing market going to go? And clearly the market is reacting to it and seeing Greene County, Flavanna County, Louisa County, Nelson, I see is a hot spot. We talked about this yesterday on the show. What's the next big thing? And, we were talking about Crozet, right? That was Zion's Crossroads going to be the next Crozet? There's a couple of projects happening just over on the Green Line, this purchase. I know that there's some interest in Standardsville again, so maybe Greene County might be kind of floating to the top over Zion's Crossroads, but this is a prime example of that. And I think I obviously need to get online and dig it up, but I'm curious what the zoning is, the current zoning of it at the moment, and I'm sure Neil can chime in and share what that is.
Give us some, and Johnny Pritzloff, give us some insight. Jenny Stoner, give us some insight. Here's the landmark for you, Keith Smith. Get ready to rock and roll. 5 firms on the feed. Avenue, welcome to the program. Logan Foster, welcome to the program. Real Estate 3, welcome to the program. Keller Williams is benevolent dictator watching the program.
No, it's just not Keller Williams. I think it's for the whole world, but that's a whole different story.
So here's the location. In front of the water tower, south of Sheets.
Oh, really?
In front of the water tower, south of Sheets.
Yeah, so those who are familiar with 29 North and those who are maybe not watching and listening to it, as you start going 29 North and you go come out of Albemarle County into Greene County, and you go through the Sheets, which be on your left, a little further down, there's a water tower there that is actually part of the Rappahannock Service Authority, if I got that right, on that. It's actually not really owned by Greene County. It's owned by a service authority, which is several counties that come together. So, look, here's the reality. They got the water because they're right next to the thing. They've got the transportation. They're right off of 29.
D.C. is spreading and spreading and spreading. Northern Virginia is getting closer and closer to northern Charlottesville. I have friends, legitimately, Keith, that are in Greene and Culpeper commuting to Northern Virginia every day.
So just it's interesting working with a couple of customers for a mutual client of ours, right? Mutual friend of ours. That's 29 North. That we're looking at doing a new construction build out there for them. Not us doing it, but helping them with the builder on that end of it. And the conversation was, "Hey, I want to be on 29 North because if I got to zip up to DC." From his perspective, it's only a 2.5 hour drive.
Ray Cadell says, "What am I, chopped liver?"
No,
we
not.
love you, Ray Cadell. This is for you, Ray Cadell. Century 21, Ray Cadell.
I just want to know why he's not here with his bugle.
Let me correct me if I'm wrong here, and Ray, correct me if I'm wrong. Is it Century 21, Ray Cadell and Associates?
No.
Or is it Ray Cadell and Associates, his own brokerage?
It's his own brokerage.
Okay, Ray Cadell. So that's 6 firms.
Yeah,
on the firm, on the show.
Yeah, he created, and kudos to him. He created his own brokerage, which I'm sure he's been trying to do for a while. We should bring him on to talk on one of the Monday market monitors to talk about that transition and what was that like. Assuming he likes to do it, and maybe he can bring his horn and play a little bit of taps for us.
I would love nothing more, Ray Cadell, than you to play the horn here in the Macklin building and for you to irritate some of these other neighbors in the Macklin building. Maybe we can get them to push on out and we can scoop up that real estate. I didn't say that on the show. Ray Cadell.
Whoa.
Right. You know what? We're going to leave that comment alone.
No.
Frankly, I should not have said that. I should not have said that. I did not mean that. Ray Cadell, you are not chopped liver. You are filet mignon. Is he not?
Interesting. If folks who are listening who do not know who Ray, and we'll let Ray chime in on, and I may have this wrong.
Caitlin Mancini, good morning.
Hey, good morning, Caitlin. He actually has played, I think, since Reagan, if not before Reagan, every inaugural ball for a presidency. And he'll fill it in. I probably got this wrong at some level. For those who don't know, he's not only an awesome real estate agent, he owns this beautiful band, big band, and they play all over the...
Big Ray and the Cool Cats.
There you go. And they play all over this side of the... I don't know. He may go out west. I don't really know. But, that's a pretty awesome thing. A little town of Charlottesville's got a guy who plays a horn in front of every president, I think since Reagan, but I may have that wrong. He'll correct me.
Nicholas Urpí, the opera, and I... Xavier, we're going to need your help here. I have no idea how to say these people's names on the opera here.
Spell it.
Is it Tosca?
Oh, Tosca. Oh, Tosca.
Okay, Tosca, and by the one and only Puccini? Puccini.
Luciano Puccini? Puccini plays, but who's singing it? Puccini wrote it. Puccini wrote it back in the 18th.
Okay.
He wrote Tosca. But who is he listening to singing it? Anyway, we'll go off on tangent. We won't get into opera. We'll save that for some other time.
Nicholas,
we'll talk real estate.
We'll talk real estate over here. Xavier and Neil Williamson is sharing links for all of us. This is from the Greene County VA Gov website, the Ruckersville area plan. Very quality information in the Ruckersville area plan. Ruckersville is hot.
Well, that's what I was trying to say earlier. We talked about yesterday. What's the next Crozet? What's the next Lake Monticello? What's the next big thing? And we've been laser focusing on Zion's Crossroads, which I still think it is. It's got all the mechanics to it, all the infrastructure to it to be there. But I think that whole Greene County Ruckersville corridor growth area, they've got the land. Greene County seems to be receptive to development, under certain terms and conditions, which that the process moves forward on that. But at the end of the day, I think that's coming to a close second. Easy in, easy out. One of the things we didn't get a chance to ask the 2 Albemarle County supervisors last Friday, which growth area within Albemarle County do they see is going to be growing? And I think what you'll hear when we get them back to ask it again, it's that 29 North corridor. So you're going to see, we've been talking about this for years. Richmond and Charlottesville and Zion's Crossroads are kind of coming together. I think you might start seeing like Culpeper, which is now Northern Virginia, depending on who you talk to. Some people think it is. And
pretty darn close.
It's pretty darn close. Culpeper and Charlottesville may start growing together.
We need to get Pop on screen over here. Pop is getting happy. You're getting happy birthdays from viewers all over Central Virginia. Kevin Higgins.
Just Central Virginia, not the whole
Kevin
world.
Higgins. Well, right now, Central Virginia. We're going to turn the studio camera around. Pop, you are now on screen.
No.
Once Judah gets
Nick,
here.
Slide over.
This is from Kevin Higgins for you, Pop. Are you ready for this? Kevin Higgins says, Happy B-Day, Pop. Keith, how would you want your dad to describe you when you aren't in the room? That's a great question. How would you want this man who's on screen right now to describe you when you are not in the room?
So this is a family show. We'll just leave it at that. We'll just leave it like that. I think he would say awesome, but I may be wrong. But no, we'll leave it at that. Look, we're Catholic. We don't talk about stuff like this, right? You know, Catholics don't do this stuff, right? We don't pat ourselves on the back. But you know, I can tell you, I don't think he's ever had a unkind word to say about me.
There you go. How about we slide that camera over and get the closer on screen as well? The CIO of Emergent Financial Services, Xavier.
Look at this. This is the first.
Xavier, you're a VIP here. You are a VIP at the I Love CVille Network. There's Xavier Urpí right there.
There may be nobody watching, but I'm having a hell of a time. Look at him. He's smiling.
Yeah, Pop is smiling. Pop.
No. Judah's smiling.
Yeah, Judah's doing a hell of a job. Look at Judah's adopting on the fly. You never know what's going to happen here on Real Talk or the I Love CVille Network. So,
well, I'm not so sure about that. You never know what's going to happen with Keith and Jerry. That may be
Batman and Robin. Neil Williamson, keep the content coming, baby. We love it. Quentin Beckham, que pasa, chico? Welcome to the broadcast. 6 firms on the feed right now talking real estate. Dan Pettit has shared the MLS listing, 824 Jefferson Drive in Lake Monticello.
I need it emailed to me, brother, so I can see it on my phone.
The Zillow estimate, $234K. Keith Smith, this listing is going to go ASAP.
Yeah. Well, as you know, the rules are we kind of stay, if it's not our listing or if it's not Dan's listing, we kind of need to stay away from getting too deep in the weeds on it, so I don't lose my license. You know, we don't want that to happen, folks.
No, we don't want that to happen.
You know, I have rules. Just saying.
All right. Sorry.
And since the
it's Pop's birthday though.
I know it's Pop's birthday, but since the benevolent dictator is
literally watching right now.
I don't want to get the phone call. Your license just got sent in. So on that end of it. But look, you know, the reality of it is, you know, Lake Monticello. Right now, we were having this conversation yesterday with Alex Tiscornia, right? If you can tag him, that would be great. We can talking about him.
Alex Tiscornia, I'm about to bring you in the mix, baby.
So, you know, at Lake Monticello, it's really hard to find something decent that meets the 5 criteria we've always talked about, right? Right, location, price, features, conditions, and the timing thing. Really, without a 3 in front of it. So if this is under 2, if I wrote the number down right, if I got it somewhere on my notes here, on that end of it, you know, that's a good number, right? So it should get a ton of eyeballs, it should get a ton of visits, get a ton of showings. You know, it'll really matter. We know the location's right. We know the price is right. It'll depend a lot on the features and conditions. You know, how much does it need some help, right? Does it need a little TLC? You know, is the roof beyond its lifespan? You know, these type of things. But you know, without shooting from the hip and taking a hard look at the listing, I suspect it's not going to stay on very long.
Johnny Pritzloff, good morning, homie.
Hey,
now
Johnny.
Watching the program from Tolheimer. Pop, you're going to love this comment. Are you ready for this? This is from Grayson. Grayson is watching outside Asheville, North Carolina. Grayson says, "Happy birthday, Pop." And then he says, "Any man who has a beverage at 10:30 in the morning is okay by me." That's from Grayson. How about that? You're getting birthday wishes from Asheville, North Carolina right now. This man is
talking about his drinking.
Well, I mean, he said it's okay with Grayson.
Yeah, it's
his birthday. He's 82.
You know, it's 82. You know what? He can do whatever the hell he wants.
Amen. Amen, brother. Can we get Pop back on screen, J-Dubs? We need to get Pop back on screen. So, Keith Smith, this topic is immediately on the feed. Vanessa Parkhill, good morning and welcome to the broadcast. CVille Weekly, good morning and welcome to the broadcast. We have there's Pop right there coming on screen. Judah Wickhauer, you are making moves. The guy has worked at V&V Brands and I Love CVille for a decade plus, my right-hand person right there. So you are getting...
Why did you frown when he said that?
I don't think he frowned. It's his mustache.
Oh, I'm
it's
just
his mustache. You know what? We have 3 men with mustaches in the room right here. Very good.
Well,
3 men with mustaches right there. Ray
so how long
Cadell.
have you had your mustache?
22 years old.
23
Since
years
you were
old.
23.
22.
Since you were 22?
That's
22?
Xavier Urpí, the CIO.
Can you speak English?
Yes, he can speak English. He's very smart. He's very smart. So this
I
is
understood the Brooklyn. I'm just telling you.
this is something that's coming on the show right now. So get ready for this. There's a 3 o'clock closed door session meeting with Charlottesville City Council. A number of people are asking what our expectations are for this closed session with City Council and how it could impact the City Hall in Charlottesville, Virginia. How are you going to navigate that dance, my friend?
So literally on the way in, I said, you know, Pop, I think I'm going to get asked this question. And so, you know, my years of dealing in politics are going to pay off today. I'm going to answer the question, but not answer the question. Look, look, the reality of it is nobody really knows. It's a closed session meeting. Everybody can conjecture what it's going to be. But what I'd like to do is go back to process. So, you know, just in a simple process of elimination, the only direct report to the city council is the city manager.
Amen. That's right.
So if they are having a closed session to discuss urgent personnel matters,
I mean, that's...
You know, that's...
The tea leaves suggest...
The tea leaves would suggest that
you're hosting a talk show.
Yeah,
so
thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Captain Obvious. I'm going to change...
I'm just trying to help you.
I'm going to change your outfit from Robin to Captain Obvious. Yeah, so, you know, my suspicion is this conversation will be about our current city manager. I suspect when they come out of closed session, they will probably report in something I think we all, at least from my side of the table, probably don't want to see happen.
We talked about this yesterday.
Did you? Okay,
Yeah,
I didn't get a chance to watch the show yesterday.
So why don't we do this? You and I have tremendous respect for Mr. Chip Boyles.
Absolutely.
Tremendous respect for you, Mr. Chip Boyles. We know you watch the program. I would bet someone's about to tag you and include you on this show here. So get ready.
Great.
Mr. Chip Boyles, we have tremendous respect for you.
Look at that.
Time to go.
Time to
The show
go.
is
Time's
over.
up. Look at that. Okay, Pop is texting me. He wants his beer and his burger. I got to go.
Mr. Chip Boyles is the city manager. Mr. Chip Boyles is... You have tremendous ties from his previous position.
Spent a lot of time with him, yep.
At the...
Thomas Jefferson Planning District Commission. I actually chaired the subcommittee that hired him 7 years ago.
So you know him intimately?
Intimate's a strong word.
That means you know him. That means you know him.
I like Chip, but maybe not intimately.
Okay, you know Chip Boyles. You know Chip Boyles. Great guy.
I was trying to figure where you were going with this.
Great guy. I'm now going to speak factually here.
So to answer the question, I have worked very closely with Chip for years.
Yeah. You're talking like a decade.
Well, not quite a decade.
Almost.
But long enough, yeah. We had a very close working relationship.
Right. Okay, and he's come on this network. He's come on the show.
Several times.
The facts are this. I'm speaking factually, right? Okay. There was a termination of the city manager. He terminated the police chief.
Sure.
Okay. Chief Brackney.
Sure.
Since Chip Boyles terminated the police chief, he has caught a tremendous amount of heat.
Sure.
That's fair, right?
Mm-hmm.
Would you agree?
It's documented, yep.
It's documented. Tremendous amount of heat of how that termination occurred.
Mm-hmm.
He made, to his own words, I'm using his words, a hasty decision. He has since written an op-ed in the Daily Progress. Mm-hmm. These are all facts. Mm-hmm. It's come out over the last couple days that op-ed was written in conjunction with a DC PR firm.
That I did not know.
Yes. He subcontracted out the work to a DC PR firm.
Okay.
It has also come out in the last few days that the communication between that DC PR firm and the op-ed that was written in the Daily Progress was done through his personal Gmail account and not a work Gmail account. Okay. These are facts.
Okay.
I'm not speaking out of turn here. Okay. And there's one of 5 counselors that happens to be the mayor that has secretly recorded Mr. Chip Boyles in phone conversations. These are facts. The mayor of Charlottesville then played this secret recording in the last Charlottesville City Council meeting. These are facts. This is not conjecture.
I'm waiting for a question.
Okay? I'm just outlining what's happening.
Got it.
Okay? So my question for you, Smith.
Because if you keep on going, the show will be up and I won't have to answer it.
My question for you, Smith, is, and I'm choosing my words carefully.
Yeah, please do.
Choosing my words carefully, is secret recordings, mayor recording the city manager.
Let's talk about that for a
Okay,
second.
there we go. You want to go there?
Yeah, no, well, so it may be secret, but and Neil will correct me if I'm wrong because he's the keeper of all facts like this. In the state of Virginia, it is okay for me to record a conversation with you as long as it's called the one-party rule. I can record that. Now it's poor form, I think, and
understatement.
Yeah. But
Understatement.
But as far as I'm not a lawyer. I don't even play one on Facebook Live.
And
right?
you didn't stay at a Holiday Inn Express
I didn't stay
last
at
night.
a Holiday Express last night. But a simple Google search will show that. So there was nothing illegal done. So if people think this was secret and illegal, it wasn't. I think it was poor form. But that's just my personal opinion.
Understatement.
On that end of it, it's not right or wrong. I just think I would have reached out to Chip and said that, but that's just the way I conduct business on that end of it. But look, at the end of the day, more than likely, if we were betting men,
which we are,
we're
entrepreneurs.
This would more than likely probably going to end with us meaning the city, looking for a new city manager.
I think if we're betting men, which we are, we expect a resignation this afternoon.
Yeah, or some news about that. I mean, nobody really knows. That's why this is closed session. And let's talk a little bit about that, right? How that process works. They can call an executive emergency meeting, which is apparently what they've done. This is simple Robert rules. It's just the way we're set up that we conduct business in this state or in this area. They have to call themselves in. There's a whole process of reading themselves into an executive session. They can't make any decisions in executive session. They can have dialogue and conversation, but there is no decision made in that. Then they come out, and then that's when the public portion of it come. And they can come out and say nothing was, there's nothing to talk about, or there's no decision required, or something like that. That's possible. But just as far as process is concerned, they'll call in. Everybody has to agree that they're doing it. Everybody has to agree they're only going to discuss this topic. Right? And then when they come out, they're also going to certify that that's all they ever talked, that's all they spoke about in that end of it. And the reason why you have these closed sessions or the executive sessions, depending on which body that you're talking about, is, employment personnel issues and contract issues are sensitive, right? There's people's lives and so forth and so on in it. It's just the way the laws are structured. So again, I'm trying to navigate this thing.
You're doing a good job.
As delicately as I can. But if we were gonna be throwing a couple bucks on the table and betting what's gonna happen, my bet would be, I think there'll be a new search here pretty soon.
And I would not take that bet.
Yeah.
I would throw my money in the pot with your money.
I think the bet would be is when.
I think the bet is this. Here's what I think the bet is.
What are we betting?
I think the bet is when. I think the when, if I'm betting, is today before close of business. I think the more apt bet or the more appropriate bet is it a resignation or a pink slip? That's what I think the bet should be.
Ooh. Yeah, I wouldn't touch that with a 10-foot pole. I think at the end of the day, and again, nobody knows this. You don't know this. I don't know this. There's no information to do this. This is just, what do we say? The
sake of a talk show?
Sake of a talk show and get some information.
Although both of us
I
move
think,
in circles.
Yeah, I think I think we're going to be searching for a new or the city will be searching for a new city manager.
The interesting tidbit here,
and I'm sorry to say that.
I'm equally sorry.
Yeah, I'm sorry to say that.
Because I have tremendous respect for Mr. Boyles.
Well, it's just
tremendous respect for you,
just from
Chip.
an organizational perspective, right? We're all business owners here. We all sit on various boards and run different companies. Any type of change like that is just not healthy for an organization.
Especially when City Hall has so many vacancies as they do.
Sure.
And I will add this.
I just don't know how The second part, let's assume we're right. Let's assume this is what's going to happen today. The other meeting today, which is
the Planning Commission,
which is huge
on FLUM. So the flex use map. And I had this conversation via text. Matthew Gillikin, if you're watching. In fact, I'll add Matthew Gillikin in the feed.
Because I printed something out that he put on Twitter this morning, which I thought was interesting.
Okay, I just included Matthew Gillikin here. Texting with him yesterday. Mm-hmm. This is my concern. City manager, we expect today, this afternoon, to part ways with City Hall in Charlottesville.
So, but look, I don't want to exaggerate on this or dramatize this. It could be, hey guys, I'm leaving in February, right? Or it could be something other than what we're talking about right now. But I think as of today, whatever those wheels are, they're going to get put in motion after 3-something, 4-something today.
Okay, so here's a conversation that needs to happen. Okay, if it plays out how we think it's going to play out, then City Council will now be tasked with finding a city manager replacement. And folks, let's remember, Chip Boyles is the interim city manager.
Sure.
So
it was never permanent.
Right. The interim city manager, they're going to have to find an interim city manager for the interim city manager.
Yeah, so I believe his...
Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
An interim for the interim, they're going to have to find.
I understand.
They already have in the police chief with the police department an interim for the interim police chief. Yeah. Jim Mooney on Friday retired for the second time.
Sure.
Tito Durrett promoted to major and now the interim police chief.
Interim.
So in the police department, they have an interim police chief.
I think there's some more in there somewhere.
Yeah, they have an interim police chief.
Look, it's...
My question for you is, does this distract from the Planning Commission and the flex use upzoning map, the FLUM, and all the hard work that's going into creating more density in the city of Charlottesville? Because City Council is now going to be responsible and tasked with finding a new city manager, trying to figure out a new police chief, and filling vacancies galore in City Hall. Does this take the eyes off the prize of increased density in the city of Charlottesville?
So you remember the little conversation we all had with Neil and Sean, I think it was last Friday, actually. No, the Friday before, on that end of it, where, I kind of walked back to my...
Oh, yeah. You said FLUM was going to happen. This helps you and that bet with Neil Williamson.
Yeah.
Who's watching.
Yeah, but I prefaced it with, unless something crazy happens. And this may be that crazy, right? This may be that particular issue. But, look, the reality of it is, forget about politics, right? We got 3 rules, right? No divisive politics, no pointing fingers, and we have fun here. But let's just talk about it from an organizational perspective. There's nobody at the helm of the ship.
That's what I'm saying.
Right? There's nobody at the helm of the ship. And, on the man sitting over to my right, who's 82 years old, is Navy, I'm a Marine. I think that was more of a conflict between the two of us than anything in our whole lives, but that's a whole different story. But in the Marine Corps, that you're kind of trained that one guy goes down, the next guy picks up. But in the Navy, if you're a coxswain or driving a ship, for lack of a better term, is there 5 or 6 other people that can step in right away to do that? I don't know. Maybe there is. He probably has a better answer to that than I do. But look, the reality of it is, the organization is not looking good from a structural perspective.
And my friend, you are being kind with that statement.
No,
there's no police chief. There's no department heads. There's no city manager. We're on an interim city manager, an interim police chief.
Put yourself in the shoes of the people that are left over. Can you imagine that? The demoralizing. There's no real boss. There's nobody in charge. Well, you're trying to do a job.
Let me ask you this question. This is from a business question, okay? How can City Council, let's say Mr. Boyles, and we have tremendous respect for you, Chip Boyles. I keep stipulating that because I truly, truly, sincerely mean that. I think you've had some bad luck here.
I've said this on the show multiple times. If anybody could do it, it could be him. I'm sorry to hear that we may be in that world. We may all be wrong. This may be something completely different. So I just want everybody to understand that. What we're projecting May or may not happen. We think it will.
The odds, okay.
Yeah. The odds maker and the bookie on the corner has kind of got the numbers.
Yeah, the odds are probably 200 to 1 saying that this.
Well, you never know.
Okay, this is going to happen.
You never know.
Here's the question I have for you, my friend.
I'm not quite 82, but I'm trying to get there. Has taught me one thing: you never say never, because sometimes that bites you on the butt.
Okay, that's fair. This is what I want to ask you, my friend. Okay. City Council.
Where's that rum?
There's a full bar over there.
I think I need it.
Do we need it?
No, I'm okay.
All right. This is what I'm going to ask you, my friend. Okay? And Batman and Robin's on fire right now, as you can tell.
I'm sorry?
Batman and Robin's on fire.
Yeah, we're on
right
fire,
now. You can tell that the
that's just why I love it.
It's palpable.
I would prefer to talk about rainbows and puppies, but...
But you knew this was going to come up.
I knew this was going to come up.
You knew this was going to come up. We both knew this was going to come up. City Council...
Pop said, be careful. I got to walk with you on the downtown mall.
Stop distracting me from my question, because this is going to be a tough one.
Yeah. Okay. I'm just trying to. It's 10:55. I'm going to keep it up until I get to
City Council. Can they legitimately, if the cards play out like we think it's going to play out, and the city manager is going to resign, or the alternative today?
Or the third option is there's a 3-month workout or
transition period. Okay, that 3 options.
Or
pink slip, resign, or transition period.
Some sort of transition period.
Yes, we're in agreement there. How can City Council legitimately pick or anoint or appoint a new city manager? And I say that because the new city manager would essentially be a lame duck city manager, because 2 of the 5 spots on council are being replaced in November.
Yeah, but
the current council legitimately cannot do it now. Now, I will say this. There's one of the 5, and we know who it is, the mayor, who's going to want to leave her legacy and make this decision before December 31st of this year, so she can say she had influence in who the new CEO of the city is going to be. I would say, as a businessman, also a CEO, or you're a CEO, as a businessman, council should, for the city of Charlottesville and for Central Virginia, wait until at least January 1, when we think Juan Diego Wade and Brian Pinkston will be on the dais, and then allow the 2 new council members, Pinkston and Wade, who we think are going to win, Yaz Washington also in the mix. I think Pinkston and Wade should have a say in who the new city manager is.
Look, let's talk about this from a reality perspective.
Please.
Let's assume, we don't know, I need to caveat this. We don't know what's going to happen until it happens, right? So we're spitballing here ideas for the sake of a talk show. Here's the reality of it is, even if it's instant, poof, it just happens today, do you really think before January they're going to be able to hire somebody? That's never going to happen.
That's what I'm saying.
No.
But she's going to make the push to do it.
Well, physically, it's not going to happen. Right, unless they have somebody already teed up, which, who knows?
Well, you know who I think the easy choice is if they already have one teed up?
No,
you know who I think it is?
Well, no.
Who do you think it is?
No, but
Mike Murphy.
Yeah, well, that may be an interim kind of thing.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And Mike Murphy is still getting a paycheck from City Hall.
That's right, yeah. Look,
so why not give him 2 paychecks and let him be the interim?
Just give him one that's a little bigger.
Mike Murphy would then be the interim city manager.
So look, the reality of it is they are going to have to go out for a national search. I mean, it's just that's what's going to have to happen to go through this. And
who would take that job?
That's a great question.
Who would take that job?
That is something that probably the 2 of us will never be able to answer, or anybody who's watching this, but they're going to have to do it.
Neil Williamson, are you watching here, Neil Williamson? Neil Williamson, please. President of Free Enterprise Forum. Neil Williamson, is Maurice Jones still getting paid by Charlottesville government? He's now the city manager of Chapel Hill, North Carolina. Is Mo Jones still getting a paycheck? Yeah, because we know Mike Murphy is. That's one.
But that's just a separation package, right? If you're thinking that all of a sudden they're going to pull him back like it's the service or something, you are now not in active.
I don't think Mo Jones is coming. Maurice Jones would never come back.
Got it.
So I think, and Neil Williamson, correct me, I think Maurice Jones might be off the payroll. I think you have Mike Murphy still getting paid 1. You got John Blair still getting paid 2. Chip Boyles is still going to be getting paid 3. If you bring back Mike Murphy as the interim city manager.
So how many have we had in the last 6 years? Do you know off the top of your head?
You've had, over the last 6 years, I couldn't tell you, but over the last.
Seems like once a year.
Dr. Richardson's still getting paid.
Sure.
So you have the people still getting paid. If Maurice Jones, Neil Williamson, help me on this, please. Maurice Jones, city manager, Chapel Hill, I believe is still getting paid. They forgave that big-time loan for Maurice Jones, okay? So that's why I still think he's getting paid. So Maurice Jones still getting banked from city. Dr. Richardson still getting paid from City Hall. Mike Murphy still getting paid by City Hall. John Blair is the city attorney of Stanton, who is the interim city manager, and very quickly he got the hell out of Dodge. He's still getting paid by City Hall. That's 4. Chip Boyles is getting paid by City Hall. That's 5. And whoever they bring in will be the 6th city manager still getting paid by City Hall. And folks, your tax dollars, your real estate tax dollars, your retail tax dollars, your food and beverage tax dollars, your cigarette tax dollars are going to the payment of 6 men.
So I'm looking for a question.
Those are facts. I just outlined facts. I didn't even offer an opinion there. Those were facts.
Yeah. So, look, the reality of it is, they're going to have to put their big boy and big girl pants on, and they're going to have to govern, and they're going to have to hire. It's interesting. We went through this similar situation in Fluvanna County several years ago, about a decade or so ago. Same thing, went through multiple those called county administrators through that end of it, and it was interesting. What happened was the chairman at the time, which was Sean Kenny, took over the role of chief executive for the county, actually took over the county administrative role as the chairman of Fluvanna County Board of Supervisors. Not that I'm suggesting this is the solution here. I just want to let you folks know there are different options out there. The city council can make its own decisions how it wants to move forward through this process. They have the right to do that. In it, there's other examples. Like I said, Fluvanna County, they literally the chairman was appointed as interim, whatever interims they were, to be the county administrator up until they were going to hire somebody. But look, the process is, assuming this goes the way we think it's going to go, the way our tea leaves are reading. This process is going to take some time for 2 reasons, actually multiple reasons. First reason is, guess what? There's not a deep pool for people who can do this job. Secondly,
the pool has been split by people who would legitimately want to take this job. As Ray Cadell just put on the feed, for you, Keith Smith and Daniel Pettit agreed. It goes without saying, but as we search for qualified folks to take these positions, they have got to be looking at Charlottesville and saying, why would I work there?
Sure.
Daniel Pettit agreed. Brian agreed.
That was my second point.
Yeah.
My second point is, just because I've been through this process multiple times, this hiring process for folks for organizations similar to the city council, it's a two-way interview. Any interview is a two-way interview, right? They're going to interview you, you're going to interview them. Is there the right fit? Is the chemistry right? Do you got the Batman and Robin flavor going here?
Multiple people are saying Keith Smith for city manager.
No, well, I can't do that. That would be illegal. I'm in Fluvanna County. Just want to let you know.
He doesn't live in the city. And how about Dave Norris?
I think the world of Dave. I think Dave can surely do the job. I'm pretty sure, I'm comfortable to know Dave is comfortable and happy where he currently is. So he and I are actually going to go down to the Virginia Governor's Housing Council and do a presentation on the Piedmont Community Land Trust. I'm looking forward to sitting next to him and talking for 45 minutes.
Neil Williamson, President, Free Enterprise Forum, from Nolan Stout of the Charlottesville Daily Progress, quote, Dr. Terrion Richardson's contract includes a severance clause that entitles him to compensation equal to 6 months of salary if he is fired within 6 months of his employment, which would be November 13th. If Richardson is fired at any point after 6 months, he receives a lump sum equal to 1 year's salary.
Yeah, I get it. It's what I'm trying to figure out is how I can add to this conversation. At this point, I think the path is going to take the path it's going to take. We're going to get a little bit of a black eye again, I think, as a city or as a region. And just like anything else, this is when it's time to pull up your trousers and go ahead and do the right thing and move forward. It's just a difficult topic for me to tackle. Because
you're a connected guy.
Well, I also have personal opinions, but that's my personal opinion, right? And but at the end of the day, they have to get it right, right? We've got a ton of stuff going on. There's finally, and I was hopeful that Chip would be able to do this because he actually did this in Clemson. Where he brought Clemson University and the town together to do this so-called town and gown thing. So UVA is finally in the conversations, right?
Go ahead. I didn't mean to interrupt you. I apologize.
UVA and the city, and we're trying to tackle collectively this housing crisis that we're in. They're at the table. My fear with this is that folks like that will stop backing away. And I hope that doesn't happen.
Kevin Higgins, we love when you watch the program. Keith and Jerry, the city needs to bring in Leonard Sandridge to get us on course. The city is crumbling. We need a proven leader now. Leonard Sandridge is a person who can fix this disaster.
Yeah, so look, the reality of it is this is going to be the decision of 5 people.
One of them's down the hall from the studio.
5 people, and probably not the 5 people that are currently sitting at the dais today.
3 of the 5.
It'll be 3 of the 5. It'll be 5 people. I suspect they will put together a search committee of some sort and hire a search firm. And that's really the right way to do it. Or not hire a search firm. They can put this out and go through the process. We just went through this with the Thomas Jefferson Community Planning District Commission. Excuse me.
With the hire of Christine Jacobs.
The hires of Christine Jacobs. We went out. We did it. I chaired that particular. No, excuse me. I didn't chair that. The chairman, Jesse Rutherford, chaired that. And what we ended up doing was going through the process, and it worked. Process works.
And this is a good question right now from Matthew Howard. This is a DM. You guys can hit me up on DMs. You can text message me.
How's the Batwatch doing?
I mean, this show's hot, dude.
There you go, buddy.
As you know, it's hot. Please bring up this topic. How does the dysfunction, his word.
Sure.
How does the dysfunction and attrition in City Hall impact the other jurisdictions in Central Virginia? That's a very good question.
That's a great question.
That's a good question.
So, it's funny. It depends. I'll be the politician again. Yes and no, right?
You need some more rum?
No, I'm good.
Okay.
It's in the cup. I'm good. So look. The reality of it is
they're connected.
Very much so.
Yeah.
And look, all you got to do is follow the money. All you have to do is follow where the project's going. We just talked about this. $4.5 million for 65 acres.
In Greene County.
Ruckersville. Which is a big number, by the way.
That is a big number.
For 65 acres, they went to Greene County. Geez, why did they go to Greene County?
Pro-business and stability in government.
There you go.
Would you agree?
Yeah, you just answered it. Yeah. So they're not coming to Charlottesville. We're about ready to have this.
Oliver Kutner told me at the line in the bank.
Excuse me?
Oliver Kutner told me this at the line at the bank.
Yeah.
He is the scion of Ludwig Kutner. Oliver Kutner, a big-time developer in town.
My office is in one of his buildings. I love it.
Oliver said this. I am out with development in Charlottesville.
Yeah.
My focus is on Lynchburg now. I cannot deal with this government.
Yeah, so the people in the field, who I work with on the consulting side, nobody wants to work in Charlottesville. I'm probably going to get myself into a little bit of trouble, so here we go. I chair the Piedmont Community Land Trust. And this is a nonprofit that develops affordable housing. I'm hopeful, frankly, that what's going to go before the Planning Commission moves forward because it gives the Land Trust an opportunity to do something in the city. But the reality of it, there is a reason why we're working in Albemarle County right now. There's a reason why we're at Spring Hill and not necessarily Charlottesville. The project in Nassau, just to talk to you about the dysfunction, and I don't mean this, I'm not pointing fingers, right? That's
These are facts.
These are one of our rules,
Yeah.
right? But the reality of it is, the Land Trust, right? The Nassau Street project, we're 2 years past it. I'm still we're still trying to get our bond released. 2 years. We're still, and the problem is there's such high turnover at the city.
Judah, bond releasing in Charlottesville City Hall.
Yeah, it's difficult because the turnover is such. It's that, and then you're just like, well, do I really want to do that? Why would I do this in the city for? The city gave us $260,000 to build 4 units. We built 4 units, $215,000. They're freaking awesome units, true net zero. The only ones in the state of Virginia at that price point that the owners are not paying an electric bill. That's how awesome these are, and we're still using volunteer time to try to get our bond released. The project's been completed for 2 years, well, year and a half anyway. So it's just the path of least resistance. People are going to go and spend $4.5 million on 65 acres. People are going to go to Rutgersville. They're going to go to Zion's Crossroads because the path's a little easier there. That's what's going to happen.
That's what's going to happen. Keith Smith, guys, Jerry Miller, Judah Wickower, Yes Realty Partners, presenting sponsor of this program, my friend, offer more perspective, and we'll get to these questions that are coming in of how the jurisdictions are linked and how the city drives government and other municipalities, whether the other municipalities want to admit it or not.
Well, here's the reality of it. When you go visit your family, your wife's family,
they have no idea where Almaro is. They have absolute idea where Charlottesville is.
And that's exactly right.
Is that what you were going to ask me?
Yeah, absolutely. The chemistry's working.
Yeah.
Where do you live? Right?
I say Keswick. They're like, where's that? I say Charlottesville. They're like, oh, okay.
I got it. Well, I always start with I live in Charlottesville, but I actually live in Fluvanna County in a place called Lake Monticello.
Yeah.
But it takes a little time to get there.
Welcome to the program, Dave Norris.
Dave Norris. All right, Dave. Dave, I'm looking forward to hanging out with you in Norfolk.
Dave, Dave, you're watching. I've championed you.
He's trying to get you a new job, Dave.
Dave,
Watch out.
I've championed you for city manager. That would mean, Dave Norris, you would be the interim
Dave,
city manager.
I'd jump off if I was you right now.
Keith Smith said, don't touch that with a 10-foot pole.
No, because then that means I won't be able to hang out with them in Norfolk and talk to the governor.
Love you, Dave Norris. This is for Dave Norris.
Yeah, Dave's a good man. Dave's a good man. Very fortunate to work with him on Regional Housing Partnership and the Land Trust. I'm excited about the opportunity. Look, the reality of it is that's when you say, hey, where are you from? I'm from Charlottesville. But look, I couldn't say it any clearer. That's where the money's going to go. That's where the business is going to go. I have nobody saying, hey, let's go build a development in Charlottesville. Nobody wants to do it.
Part of that also has to do with the lack of land available.
And the price.
Yeah, price. Lack of land available. On top of that, we'll add the dysfunctional nature of the government.
Well, you got red tape, and then that red tape isn't functioning because they don't have enough people in the seats in the seats to do the job. And then when you get this turnover, we talk about this a couple of times on the show. You don't have the guy that you just talked about, Dave Norris, has probably got more institutional memory.
Oh yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's why I'm championing him.
What's sitting. Well, maybe Lloyd would be up on par.
Yeah, Snook was on the Planning Commission.
Yeah,
Mike Murphy's got institutional memory as well.
Sure. So there's a handful of institutional memory folks there, but Dave would come with it. But Dave don't take the job, brother. So but look, and that's what's going to happen. The counties are going to benefit from that.
Quentin Beckham, ready for this?
I'm ready. Did I get fired? Did I get my license?
Benevolent dictator. He's very proud of what you are doing on this program. Quentin Beckham says this: I am not the best informed and certainly not the expert, but I do wonder as a city resident, when looking at the number, nature, and complexity of issues facing the city of Charlottesville, are our expectations of any council member and or city employee just way too high? Are we expecting someone to come in and fix everything in a year? I wonder sometimes if our desire to be perfect and fix everything in totality works against the steady progress we need and have had at times in our city government. Certainly, I do not think I would know what to do to make everything better were I a mayor or council member. I applaud all of them for standing up in very hard times and really coming to the job with their full hearts. It's not a job I would be able to do well myself.
So I've been on the record you and I have had this discussion before, regardless if you agree with the decision or not, or the process or not, the folks that raise their hand, get sworn in, and sit behind that dais, it is a tough job. It is a thankless job on that end of it, and you have to make some tough decisions that, frankly, half are going to not like it, and the other half
or be lukewarm about it.
Oh, lukewarm. Yeah. Lukewarm about it.
You have thick skin. Here's a good question.
But let me finish this. Please. But Quentin is 100% right. This, whatever this is, right? This didn't happen in 24 hours, 12 hours, whatever. This took quite a while to get here. So it's going to take quite a while to work itself out. And everybody needs to team up and get through it together. And I think it'll happen. I really do. I'm an internal optimist. I really think this is going to get turned around. It's just going to take a little bit of time, like Quentin said, a lot of time, but we'll get there. As long as everybody's willing to respect each other and each other's opinions, we'll get through it. I believe it.
This is an interesting comment. Are you ready for this?
I am. I've got my pen ready for notes.
Thomas Brown. Jerry and Keefe, knowing what you know now, why would either of you choose to get involved with local government? Jerry, I know you're anticipating and excited about a run for Board of Supervisors, and Mr. Smith, you have run for Board of Supervisors in your county in the past.
I have.
Why get involved with local government when you know what you know now? And that's from Thomas Brown.
You want to take that first, or you want me to take it first?
You go first.
So, because I want to try to make a difference. I believe I can. I really believe I can. I feel I've been given a certain set, I've been blessed with a certain set of skills or a certain time that I can go ahead and do that. It's not moving at the pace I want to. So my world focuses around affordable housing on my volunteer time and getting involved in it. And look, we were able to put, this project in Spring Hill, not to pat myself on the back, is pretty awesome. I mean, it took, we only spent $140,000 cash to produce 7 homes and put 7 families in those homes that roughly market value, roughly $2.2 million. Oh, by the way, it's going to be forever affordable for 140 grand. And that took a lot of hard work and bringing the right people to the table. So the reason, I'm not running for office. I'm not silly enough to run for office again. That's why, but I can do what I can do well, and I'm blessed to have the ability to do it. And if I can help people, I've been blessed to live a very good life. And if I can give back, I want to give back. That's what it's all about, man.
Should I answer?
Sure.
I liked your answer. Quentin says, I love when Keith says I'm right.
Yeah, he does it. I have notes. So he's texting me, you need 7 more times to say I'm right. So that was only 4, I think. So I got to go a couple more times.
My answer is this. Thomas, good question.
That's a tough question to answer.
It is a tough question, especially on the fly right here.
Well, it's a tough question to answer because you need to answer it in such a way that it's not about your own ego, right? And it's really about giving back, and it really truly is. And that's part of why we do these roundtables with realtors on Monday, and we talk about what else they do other than selling and helping folks buy and sell houses. We've probably got the largest community that volunteers out. I mean, Yona's on the Fluvanna County SPCA, my wife. It's 4 of the board members are realtors, I think out of 6. Go ahead. I'm sorry, I interrupted you.
No. I mean,
go. Yeah, I know you're working. I can tell.
It's blowing up.
I can tell you.
So my answer to that, Thomas, is this. I find the community to be special. Went to college here, persuaded my wife to move here. Our son is being raised here. The business is I Love CVille, which is not just indicative of city limits, but in Central Virginia in totality. It's been good to our family, and it's time to give back. I'm a God-fearing person, a man who tries to embody the golden rule, who does not always succeed with it, but tries. And it would be selfish to strictly utilize God-given gifts for capitalistic purposes. And it's time to
What's the golden rules?
Be philanthropic and give back. We have the time and the flexibility of schedule, the work ethic, some vision, and we're willing to put in the work.
So I said earlier when we started the show, you know, the gentleman sitting to my right, my father, you know, if I can become half the man he is, I'll be doing something, because I watched him over the decades give back as a New York City fireman. You know, you don't do that to make money. You do that to serve folks, and you do that to help folks. You sure as hell don't do it to make money on that end of it. So, you know, it's if you have the ability to give back, you should. That's just the way it should be. You and I see a little differently about you running, but we'll save that for off air. But you know, one of the best things that happened was I didn't win. That was the best thing that happened, because you know, on this side of the table, you can do a little bit more. You can talk with folks more. On your side, on the other side of the table, your hands are a little bit tied on that end.
Teddy Roosevelt from Quentin Beckham. Do what you can with what you have, where you are. Teddy Roosevelt. So the most influential teacher in my life was Mr. Ed Gillespie. Algebra teacher, Algebra 2 trig teacher, pre-calculus teacher. He had this acronym that we wrote on top of every test, DWYGD. And the acronym stood for do what you gotta do. And when I was a kid in high school, all I cared about was the acronym. If I wrote it on the top of the test, gave us 5 bonus points. The more I think about the acronym DWYGD, do what you gotta do, the more I realize that this is a mantra for life in a lot of ways. Do what you gotta do to make it through the emotions you're feeling, the work struggles you're having, success, failure. You get up and you got to do what you got to do to make it to the end of the day.
There you go.
And another one was Frank Beamer. And I hate to give credit to a Hokie as a Wahoo.
That has to hurt.
But Frank Beamer made the comment where success is never as good as you think.
Sure.
And failure is never as bad as you think.
Sure. Well, people are afraid to fail these days. You know, failure is actually probably one of the best learning. It's funny when you're talking about your teacher. My teacher,
your teacher's right there.
Well, actually, I was going to say my kindergarten teacher, but that has something to do with my education level. But yeah, you know, we're you know, to the left of my father is Mr. Urpí, and you know, for us it was family, right? He's, you know, the family is what is the glue that it held it together. We were blessed to have that. But yeah, you know. It's there's 3 things that pop up on my phone at 5:30 in the morning, and you know this: be professional, be caring, and be trustworthy. And I struggle at them every day, and I try to achieve it every day. But is there any
beautiful 7/8 is watching?
Thank you.
I agree. There is a reason why things happen and don't happen.
Sure.
Daniel Pettit, do the right thing at the right time in the right place with the right spirit.
I think they made a movie out of that.
Well said, Daniel Pettit. Do the right thing at the right time in the right place with the right spirit.
So did Matthew chime in, Matthew Gilligan?
Matthew Gilligan, if you're watching here, please jump in and offer some perspective. If you're at the hospital, we're giving you some props later because he may be on the clock at UVA Health System.
He may be trying to save somebody's life. But
Neil Williamson, Keith Smith, the great unpleasantness was a difficult teacher.
Sure, totally. Absolutely, great teacher, but it also was a blessing, right? I wouldn't be sitting here talking to you if the era of great unpleasantness didn't happen. So.
For those that are not familiar with the term, the great unpleasantness, that is, in other words,
for the real estate depression.
The real estate depression of 2008, 2009.
2010, yeah, that's
2010.
exactly right. Any real estate questions on there?
Well, I mean, I got to cut to the chase. The questions are about what's happening today.
Okay, go ahead.
And about government.
Sure, let's do it.
And what's going on with council.
I'm here.
And predictions for who the new person's going to be. Well, a lot of people agree with the Mike Murphy statement.
That may be an interim kind of thing, but
it's interim.
Whatever, how many interims you want to add to it. But the reality of it is that they're going to have to do a search. That they're just going to have to try to bring somebody in from the outside with some fresh ideas and fresh, you know, a new set of fresh downs, to use a football analogy.
Nicely done.
Thank you. I watched the game last night till late, but you know, to move the ball forward on that end of it. Pardon the pun. But yeah, look, I think for anybody to say it's going to be this person or that person, look, we don't even know if it's going to happen, right? We're pretty sure it is, but
How about this one? This is a very specific real estate question.
What happened to the fun? I was having fun in the beginning.
This is also from Thomas. Thomas says this: How does the turmoil impact real estate values?
Well, that's a great question. I think not very much, to be honest with you.
I agree.
I think the average buyer and seller probably are not deep into this as you and I may be.
Agreed.
So I don't think it will. And look, the reality of it is, we talked about this yesterday, the lack of inventory is such, the pool of buyers is so deep that it's going to take quite a bit to kind of balance that out. Interest rates going up a little bit. Mr. Urpí might chime in on that. But
10-year yield was down this morning. Did I read that correctly? It was down this morning. 10-year yield influences.
Yeah, I know, sir.
Okay.
But you might want to say that for the other.
We learned that from our Merchant Financial Services, a trusted name in the game.
This is my business, after all.
Just letting you know.
Okay, Miller.
Finish your thought over there, Senor Smith.
No, I lost it already. The 10-year bill got me off on the tangent here. Look, I don't see it impacting it. I
agree with you.
The pool of buyers is so deep and the inventory is so low. I think, and I have gone on the record of being in favor of quote unquote missing middle, and what hopefully the new adjustment of the FLUM or FLAM or whatever we're calling it, FLUM on that end of it. I think that's a good thing. But there's a. We talk about this a couple of times. That's really just step one.
Future land use map.
Thank you.
Yeah.
There's, that's just the first step. Then we got to go through the zoning changes. Then there's going to be subdivision or site plan changes. And there's interesting thought I had on this morning as I was reading, preparing for today, assuming this might come up. And it's an interesting thing. Nobody's talking about the building code issues that this may crop up.
Ooh, go down that road.
Right. So if you're going to do, and again, the gentleman, my father sitting to the right was a New York City fireman from 60s to I think the 80s on that end of it. New York City, I think, was the first city in the nation that developed zoning ordinances and so forth and so on. But look, if you're going to do a duplex, the firewall between the two is pretty inexpensive to do. But if I do a quad, like a 4/4, the building code is going to tell you what you're going to have to build. And that may be just too expensive. And that's controlled by the state. The state runs this. The local jurisdictions don't run this. They can do more restrictive, but they can't do less restrictive. So, there's a part of this that nobody's talking about, because the reason I know about it, it popped up in Portland and Seattle. We talk about the two cities all the time. They were struggling with how do we put these quads on these lots or these sixplets on these single-family detached, because how they wanted to build them didn't jive with the state and or the federal building codes for fire safety in particular. So it's a part of it that nobody's talking about that's going to probably pop its head up in the back end of after we get through FLUM or whatever we're calling this.
Your son-in-law watching the program.
Oh, which one?
Mr. James Watson.
Oh, James.
James Watson.
We love
birthday
James.
Over here, James Watson. We love James Watson on the program.
We do. He always adds a little bit of, anytime we have a family gathering, he always adds just a little bit of class and intelligence to it. Just saying.
James Watson, good people. We love you, James, on this show and on the I Love CVille Network. Keith, today's show, red hot. We'll follow what happens today at 3 o'clock with council and how it can impact the community in Central Virginia region. I will say this. I agree 100% with the turmoil in government is not going to impact real estate values. When it comes down to it, the University of Virginia is hiring more people. The University of Virginia is admitting more students to its university. The 4 years we spent, certainly the 4 years I spent at UVA, were some of the best of our lives. We wax nostalgic of those 4 years and then get the itch to move back here for quality of life. We have the outdoors, we have hiking, we have breweries, we have wineries, we have corn capsule, we have music, we have restaurants, we have the downtown mall.
And all the Class A space. Pop and I were talking about that on the way over.
Class A space. In fact, I got an email from two of the agents that have come up on the feed today, commercial.
Sure.
And this is about...
Johnny was one of them, I believe.
Well, I mean, that's who I'm referencing here.
Yeah.
And he's still watching. So I'll throw this to you. This is something I was going to bring up on my show. In fact, let me go to the text for this. He gave me the green light to talk about this.
Cool.
So I'm not speaking at a turn.
So it was the Apex building, right? Is that the one we're talking about?
Yeah. So here's the nitty-gritty for those that are watching. General Atomics, it's the 323 building.
323?
Yeah, General Atomics leases at 323 building in Charlottesville. Here's the nitty-gritty. General Atomics Commonwealth Computer Research has leased, are you ready for this?
I am, sir.
Has leased 49,257 square feet of office space within the 323 building. That is right off the downtown mall, really close to ACAC, right next to Friendship Court. Totaling 120,000 square feet, the 323 building is the state-of-the-art 5-floor office building. So it's 120,000 square feet, the 323 building.
How many employees?
General Atomics is leasing roughly 49,000 of that 120,000 square feet. I do not have the employee count.
Well, that was the conversation coming
Actually,
over.
I might have the employee count. Keep going.
Yeah, so the conversation away, is it 100 employees, 50 employees, whatever it may be? Clearly, the high-tech jobs, right?
Yeah.
Right? They're probably upper end on the salary level.
Definitely.
On that.
They need places to live.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
And that is going to probably impact the market more than the whole
government turmoil.
The whole conversation we just had on that. And there's somewhere, I didn't get a chance to look at it, but somewhere I saw something in the news about the Apex building, and maybe Johnny can chime in on it because no, not the Apex. I think Apex may have been bought out or something.
Yeah, that's correct.
That's what it was.
Yeah. So
for those who don't know, Apex is like the largest wind power, one of the largest wind power companies in the United States.
That, guys, is going to have a tremendous impact on Charlottesville and Albemarle County real estate. When you bring in a firm of this stature that is capable of leasing 49,000 plus square feet in a brand new building, this is Class A office space. So as nice as office space that's on the market, essentially.
Yeah, so Johnny, I'm sure, can chime in on this.
In fact, I'll text him right now. You finish that thought.
Yeah, so he can probably chime in on this. The Dairy Market or Dairy Central complex, their Class A space, if I'm not mistaken, I believe it's around 50,000 square feet. I believe it's fully leased out with all kinds of, I think Dexcom's in there.
Yeah.
I think there's a couple other companies which the names escape me at the moment that are fully leased up, pretty much on the technology side of things, on the for those who are almost 60, the computer side of things on that end of it. But the question, that is going to have a larger impact on the housing market in Charlottesville than I think anything the city is going to do.
Right. We're running out of space.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you agree?
Well, that's what we were trying to talk about with the city council, the Albemarle County Board of Supervisors about, what is their feeling of the growth or lack of growth or growing or putting more of residential units or development, and for that matter, in the urban ring, or the 5% of the urban ring, which we all know isn't really 5%.
Right. It's not 5% because it's residential, commercial, and all the land is not developable.
Correct, and it's already percentage of it's already built out on that end of it.
My friend, the Batman and Robin crushes it.
Look at that.
I know. It flies by. First time I looked at the clock, it's 11:33 as well. Quentin Beckham, and I really hope as we continue to work through issues of affordable housing, systematic racism, and income inequality, we do not forget that we each have a moral imperative to do our part in the places we live, the neighborhoods that are our own personal community, and with the people we interact with day by day. We bear an equally responsibility as local citizens as do the staff and elected officials of our city. Our civic duty is a daily thing and much greater than just casting a vote.
So we spent a lot of time talking about what may or may not happen at 3 o'clock. So to play off of what Quentin has said, what I hope folks tune in today at 6 p.m. is the joint meeting between the Planning Commission and the City Council to talk about the comprehensive plan. That's more important.
Flex use.
Yeah. So, I mean, this is going to happen. What's going to happen, unfortunately, is going to happen. We're going to have to get through this collectively. But this is important. You know, this comprehensive plan is important. It's the first step of the vision of what we, and I use the word we liberally, but it's Charlottesville. And we know as Charlottesville beats, the heartbeat of it affects everybody around it. We're directly connected to it. This is why we promote regionality so much around here. But the reality of it is this comprehensive plan is step one. And please get involved regardless of how you feel about it, regardless of what your opinion is. But watch, get educated, and give your opinion.
Multiple people have a question for Pop.
Who?
How did
Is he napping over there?
how do we get the name Pop? And give us the origin of Lenny. How we got Lenny from Pop. Pop from Lenny.
Wow.
Get Pop on the show over there, J-Dubs.
So
Can we welcome Pop on set?
It's up to you and it's up to him. You want to come sit over here, Pop, or are you okay over there?
You want to come over here, Pop? Please, Pop. You got a lot of fans over here, Pop. We're about to welcome Keith's 82-year-old father, Pop. Yeah, I'm down. Absolutely. He's always welcome.
Come on.
In fact,
no. He wants somebody.
His firstborn's coming out at 12:50. Alex Urpí,
he wants somebody of the same age to make him feel comfortable.
Bob, this is for you.
Don't hit me. He hit me. That's on video, by the way.
Now we're really putting Jude in the hot seat right here. So we have Xavier Urpí, CIO, Emergent Financial Services, in the light blue shirt. We have Pop. Pop, if we get you slide a little closer to Xavier. This, sir, is your microphone here in front of you. This gentleman is 82 years old. Pop, what is the key to 82 years of happiness on this planet?
So hold a little technical thing. Hey, Pop, the belly needs to be get the belly against the table.
So you want to be as close to this mic as against the table.
Where's the happy in that?
We're 82 years of happiness, my friend. What's the key to that?
Both. You have happiness up and down. Just got to handle it.
Yeah?
Yeah.
82 years of life on this planet. How about that? How long have you been married?
Just think how old I am, Pop.
60 years.
60 years next year.
Yeah, 59.
What do you say to 60 years of marriage? What's the key to that?
Up and down. Up and down, good and bad.
Yeah?
You know, you make the commitment, you stick to it.
That's right.
What do you think, Keith?
Yeah, you know, and God, I had to say this in front of him, but if I become half the man he is, I'll be doing something.
Yeah.
I truly mean that, Pop. In front of God.
Embarrass me on the
totally. In front of the world and everybody who listens and do that, you know, you're the father of 5, and you know, all we had to do was watch you.
And you were the first.
And you didn't.
We tried to improve since.
We said, oh, we screwed that one up. Let's keep on going.
Let's get Xavier in the mix. You're father of 3.
Absolutely, but I wanted to say that, you know, the fire department, being on the fire department of New York is a very tough job, right? And, you know, I take my hats off because there's a difference between being and I don't know anything about being a fireman, right? But when I look at the fire department in New York and they've got these buildings, 100 floors, 50 floors, 80 floors, whatever it may be, those are massive buildings. And when there's a fire in there, these guys are running up the stairs. They're not taking the elevator. So, you know, everything that you do there is amazing. And I take my hat off.
So let Pop know where from the city you are from.
Yeah, he's from New York City.
So, yeah, I was raised in Queens, and then I got married and moved to Brooklyn. So 2 great boroughs of New York, and then worked in Manhattan. So I kind of...
Where'd you raise in Queens?
So first Woodside and then Sunnyside.
Right, I was in Richmond Hill, Ozone Park.
Oh, I know exactly where that is, yeah. Great area, yeah.
But you were in Rescue 2 in Brooklyn, right?
Yeah, right. I was blessed to be in Rescue 2, yeah. It's,
well, you're being a little kind. You were a fire officer in Rescue 2 in Brooklyn, and it takes a little bit of doing. That's kind of like, I know you're humble, but that takes a lot of doing to get on that.
Just let them do what they got to do.
Stay the hell out of there.
But in the city of New York, there's 5 boroughs.
Right.
And it's Queens, Brooklyn, and Manhattan, and the Bronx,
Bronx,
and
baby,
Staten
yeah.
Island.
Yes.
So there's a whole multiple of occupancies, from the private dwelling to the multiple dwelling, and the aging of the buildings on the waterfronts and downtown. Those buildings, a lot of them are the heavy timber, were built in the late 1700s. So you have the whole mismatch. And
When they go, they go.
Exactly.
well, the heavy timber buildings, the ones they built early on the waterfront, burnt for a long time. The rate of collapse is very, very insignificant, because just the size of the supporting members.
So I didn't get a chance to talk to you about this, Pop, but this Apex building we're talking about is a heavy timber building.
I think it's the tallest timber building on the East Coast.
It could be.
I think it is.
It could be, but I got pictures. I'll show it to you
Right.
sometime. But it's I can't remember. I think it's 8 stories or 9 stories or 10 stories.
Heavy
tall.
timber?
Heavy timber, and it was really interesting to watch the way they put it together.
Why did they use timber?
You know, I
question.
don't know the answer. I don't know the answer to that. I just knew it was cool to watch as a former wood butcher. You know, it was fun to watch, and it was like putting Legos up, and they prefabricated them all, Pop, and they erected them up. It was pretty neat. Then they wrapped a skin around it.
Actually, I have that statistic for you. The Apex building, 130,000 square feet, is the tallest mass timber structure in Virginia.
Yeah.
In Virginia.
Okay.
That's pretty darn tall.
Yeah, it certainly
That's right
is.
over there by ACAC.
Yeah.
So, Pop, you got questions coming in for you.
Okay,
You ready?
ready?
Yes, sir. This is put in perspective 9/11 for us, Pop.
Look at his wrist.
I get a little upset when I talk. I lost a lot of friends and their children. That's all I can say.
That says it all.
Well,
Yeah.
he wears his band on his wrist, 343. That's the number of New York City firemen that were killed that day. And this man knew most of them, a good chunk of them, and their families and stuff like that. You did a good job at 9/11 service, by the way, Pop. They
Thank you,
did
Ray.
the same thing at Lake Monticello we did to him. They dragged his butt up there to go ahead and talk on that end of it.
Well, you all were talking about building codes, and we in New York City firemen, we enforced the building code, the fire prevention codes, and helped with the building codes with the building department. When I first went on there, they developed a building code in 1938, I think it was, which they built the Empire State Building, which was built in I think it was a year, or in about a year. And in 1945, a B-15 or B-25 crashed in the side of that building, and that's where it stood. Compared to the Twin Towers, they were built to the new code of 1968. And what they did is they emphasized steel and sprinklers, and what they tried to blow it up in 1993. They had explosions in the sub-basement, and this time they went through with the planes as a projectile fully loaded with fuel.
Well, that fire burnt down, didn't it?
Yeah,
Instead of up,
burnt down.
which is unusual, right?
But those planes were full of people also. So,
So
yeah,
let-
and they burnt down, and the fuel cascaded down the fire stairs, which is the exits for the occupants. So they got caught in that. It was terrible. But we had to go up.
So that's a great question. We've been calling you Pop forever. My children have been calling you Pop forever. Where did that
The whole community.
Everybody calls you Pop. I remember with our clients, the clients would call him Pop. Hey, Pop. Where did that come from?
Well, it's funny you say that because when I was a child, my father called me Sam. And Pop came, I guess, when you and Gregory worked together.
Oh, that's right.
When I retired, we started a renovation construction business on Long Island. Keith had got out of the Marine Corps, and my other friend Gregory, his buddy, we came together. So
that's right.
That started Pop. You know,
then the grandkids took it on, and everybody took it on.
Yeah, right. The grandkids.
So why did Grandpa call you Sam? I never understood that.
Well, my dad went to, I don't remember much of my dad before he came home from the war.
That's World
I was
War II.
born in 39. My dad came home in 45. He went to war in 1942. I remember seeing him once, and his compatriot in the service was a man named called Sam Craxon from Atlanta, Georgia. And I got the name Sam. That's the only tie I got with it. You know, he thought very well of Sam Craxon. he said, and they were both Yankee and Rebel, and they kind of rubbed that together. He was telling me, you know, don't do that Yankee trick to me and all that stuff. And they were, his assignment was, he was a firefighter also, and when he went in the Navy, they made him a firefighter on, which is a rank in the Navy of bosun mate firefighter, and they were stationed in the Mediterranean, which he told me at that time there was no American capital ships in the Mediterranean at that time. It was all British, except for the fleet tugs, which they used as firefighting tugs. So a few stories he told me is that they would be called into after the Germans bombed the ports and the British ships, so they'd be called in to firefight. You know. So anyway, he had a great friend named Sam Craxon, which I never met, and every once in a while he used to call him up, and they would reminisce, and I would listen to the stories, you know. But that's how I got the name Sam, you know.
So Lanny, Sam, Pop. Anything else I need to know about in front of everybody? Any other name I need to know?
Recorded, so I haven't.
This is, you'll appreciate this, Kevin Higgins.
Yeah.
We are watching a man talking about his father in the 1940s. Today is a good day.
Thank you. Yep.
Sensitive guy. Now you know where I get it from.
I respect that.
Yeah.
I respect that.
So, I got to buy this man lunch and dinner, or lunch and a beer. No.
Burger and a beer.
Burger and a beer.
Yeah.
And then I've got to drive him home. I'm his chauffeur today, and do that. So what do you got going on?
I thought it was. I'd like to thank you for this opportunity to be here with Keith. You know, we have a long history, as you know, Keith. But as in
I'm going to let that one lie.
Also, in working in business, it was ups and downs. It was good.
So it's a fun.
Xavier can offer. He's got a family business.
I certainly do. Yeah.
He works with his sons.
How do you handle that sometimes?
And we'll get
I think it's great. I mean, so I work with my three sons, and it's great because I can tell them what to do, right? And not that they do it, but I still tell them. But the other thing is the energy they bring to the business is great. You know.
Exactly. We were doing it's exactly right.
Are you going to tell on me in front of everybody?
Well, get a little closer so you can tell everybody about Keith there.
Oh,
well,
great.
I'm just.
He's been waiting at this for
Bill
2
Don,
Got to talk to the mic,
what
Bob.
he said is that it's, you know, you tell them what to do, they don't do it anyway. And, but they do listen. Years come back, you know.
That's true.
It's like, listen to your mom and dad, they tell you don't do that, yeah, what do you know? And then all of a sudden you do it, and you say, you know, they told me not to do this.
It's amazing how smart you got the older I got. It's just totally amazing. I don't know what happened, but you just got so smarter as stuff went on.
In working together with Keith, we went to Lake Monticello, and it was just an opportunity, and he was the energy. He was the go get him, let's do it. And I was saying, my question was, how much is it going to cost? You know, and I said, what?
Don't worry about it. Everything will be okay.
Yeah, so, but anyway.
How about this for both you guys? What does New York mean to you guys?
Ooh, great question.
All three of you.
Well, New York to me, I had a great childhood. Just, you were put out, you know, you were out in the street, came in when the lights went on. I remember we lived in Queens, and we went to the Bronx Zoo, which was, on public transport, walked on public transportation. And that was it. You went out the door, you left in the morning. We're not worried. It was safe. You were safe. Play ball in the street, and you had the density where you didn't have to know anybody else other than that, you know. And they always talk about tenements and stuff, and you know, these are big apartment houses. Some people didn't lock their doors. Everybody knew who was in the building, you know. It was like rural Virginia, but condensed, you know. Everybody was...
Exactly.
It was really nice growing up. He was taught respect, civic duty, you know. Don't bring the policeman to my door, that kind of thing. And the police were great, and you didn't appreciate them till you got older. How they actually watched you. And I remember I come home on leave, and I walked in, and I was in uniform, and a police officer walked across a couple of streets to say hello to me. He was the same guy that kicked me in the butt a few times, you know, and he just shook your hand, but they knew, you know, they knew, and you felt safe.
Yeah, I think without any doubt. I mean, I just loved growing up in New York. There's no doubt about it. And he's right. Pop's right. I mean, when I was growing up, I mean, we went out and played in the street. We played stickball. We played football. We were out there. I mean, day and night. Never worried. I took my bicycle, rode down to Triborough Bridge from where I lived, and that's a long way. I used to bicycle ride into New York City, into 23rd Street, because I worked at a bookstore, a Spanish-French bookstore from Queens, and no worries, right? And the thing about when I went through high school and college, it's just, and then, you know, obviously worked there also, but the energy in New York City, there's just nothing like it. I mean, sure. There's everything for everybody, right? And you just get involved in that energy, and you really enjoy it. So, you know, during the time that I was growing up, I loved New York.
So Frank Sinatra didn't sing a song about Washington, D.C. He sang a song about New York. The thing that I miss the most about it, you know, and is the multicultural of it, you know, and you just, you know, you were Cubans, yeah. You know, Puerto Ricans, you know, you didn't know Jewish, you know, you went to the deli.
Everything was ethnic.
You went to
everything was ethnic.
In one building,
yeah,
and you went to the Jewish deli on the corner, or the Italian deli, or the bakery, and you know, I miss the food. My God, I miss the food.
But
I don't miss the crowds, though. I have to tell you.
We went out. We were told as children, "You're ever in trouble, go to a policeman."
Right.
100%.
But you know, you first of all, you were taught respect, and you respected everybody. And I remember growing up, I didn't think of, you know, he's Jewish, he's Italian, you know, he's Puerto Rican. You just
neighborhood
blended
people.
in.
They were neighborhood people.
That's who everybody was, right?
But the difference, though, Pop, which has kind of changed a lot, you know, to wrap it back around housing and stuff, right? The police officer lived in the same building, right?
Yes.
Right. The police.
Actually, in the fire department, when my dad came on in 1937, they tried to place you close to your home because everything was public transportation.
Sure.
You know, and at one time, you really even couldn't live outside the city limits. You know, they didn't want you to live out. That was kind of a requirement that was not really enforced. And as the veterans came home, they all wanted. It was different. They all moved out. You know, they wanted the sprawling yard and this stuff and that.
So I'm going to ask you a question.
Yvonne's watching.
Oh, Yvonne's watching.
Yvonne watching.
Out in Seattle.
Yeah, in Seattle.
Wow.
She has a message for you.
What's it?
I love you so much, Pop. Have a great birthday.
Yeah.
Now I got to get back to sitting in circles and chatting with the kiddos.
Fifth kindergartens.
Right? 8:55 in Seattle.
Yeah. She, that, you know, as a father, that makes me tear up. That how awesome is this? His granddaughter is out in Seattle talking to his grandfather while our dad
In kindergarten class.
And that's the beauty of this technology.
Yep.
You know, it's not all negative.
So he's got to do another show, but I'd love
I'm
that.
totally fine with this.
Yeah,
this is great.
Okay, so I want to ask you a question, right? This is a you know, what did Grandpa Smith say? You can't put an old person's head on a young person's shoulders, right? That's always stuck to me. But I want to tap into that.
Everybody has to get their own black eyes.
But I want to tap into that. So we're talking about. You got to lean into the mic, Pop. We're still trying to teach you. So we're talking about missing middle, right? And we're talking about going backwards, and I used the word backwards purposely, going backwards to multi-family units, duplexes, and it's for the both of you gentlemen, duplexes and quads and all that stuff. A lot of people don't know zoning ordinances in this country really didn't evolve into the late 20s. Fluvanna County didn't have a zoning ordinance in 1974, right? So what used to happen back in the 1800s and the early 1900s was duplexes were there. If you drive down Belmont and you take a look at a duplex and you go, hold it, how the hell did that get there? Well, that got there because there wasn't zoning ordinances when it was built in 1910 or 1920. But from a guy that was, two guys actually, that was raised in the city, that lived in a more dense area, that ultimately moved out, when you moved out to Queens, where did you move out to when you were, did you move out to Long Island?
Woodside, I lived in a 6th-floor building. There's 3 buildings, and then my parents bought a 2-family home in Sunnyside.
So you went out to Sunnyside. We're still
Exactly.
Queens, but it kind of was a little bit like Long Island. We moved out to Long Island and all that stuff. So what, you know, which is better in your opinion, right? You know, look, you know, if you can, because a lot of people are saying this, we shouldn't do this.
It's just because they're scared of the unknown.
Well, I'm
Around
saying
here.
we're going back to where it used to be.
Right. I'm saying around here.
Yeah.
They're saying, you know, traffic and density and wear and tear on infrastructure.
And those are all great things, but I'm just curious from a living perspective, which did you prefer? If you could choose, which one would you choose?
Well, naturally, I preferred where I could afford.
Okay, well, let's say you can.
The other thing,
Yeah.
and talk about building codes, we used to have to enforce the fire codes, and sadly, most of them were generated out of tragedy.
Sure.
These big fires, loss of life, lack of exits, storages, combustibles, exiting and entering, you know. This all happened out of people dying and big properties, you know, it's...
But that's never really changed. We've got a roundabout at 618 and 53 was something I helped with because there was debts there, and we convinced the city, county.
That's right. It's needed to be there. Yeah, that's true. That's correct.
Maybe this was just an off-topic question. I was just really curious, which did.
Well, I like both of them. I love my childhood, and I live in a land of opportunity where I could better myself.
Well, this gentleman right here can really speak from that. Born in Cuba.
Yeah, and I think that's the key. And Keith, and I just think about my parents, right? So they came here, and they lived in a very small apartment. Same thing as my wife's parents, just lived in a small apartment, and their goal was really to buy, a little house, right? And they bought a 2-family house, and it's funny because when I went from the apartment to the 2-family house, I thought it was a castle. I mean, the backyard was probably about the size of this room, right? And I thought, wow, this is great, right? Then what happens? Then you get a job, and you eventually say, well, this 2-family is pretty small, and it was really small. So the whole point of America is that you can now you can work so that you can then move to the next stage. And I always wanted a bigger backyard and a slightly bigger home, right? So you work hard to get there, and that's the opportunity. The key is always to allow people to move, right, from one place to another. And I have to say one thing, though. Sometimes, one of the reasons you move to New York to a place like Charlottesville, right, is because it is somewhat of a mini New York. And I always said that thanks to the University of Virginia.
Sure.
There's sports, there's classic music, there's restaurants. Everything here is like a mini of New York. So it's not like you live in the middle of nowhere. It's like, what I do after work, right? The whole point, though, is that
there's an after work. I thought you worked all the time.
Well, that's it. Yeah, but for some other people,
I got it.
Not for me. But the point is that from the perspective of, do I want to be stuck in traffic? I mean, when I left New York City, it took me 2 hours for a 20-minute ride, 2 hours to get home. So I had 2 little babies at home. I left the house around 6:30 so I could get to work at least at 7:30 for meetings, right? And we'll leave the house, we'll leave work around 6 o'clock, get home around 8 o'clock. Kids will sleep in the morning, kids will sleep in the night. Never got to see them except for the weekend, right? I said, this is not the life I want because I want to see my kids. You move to a place like Charlottesville, what you don't want to see is it turn into New York City.
Sure.
Right? So when people say we got to continue to build and make, well, yes, but hold on. The whole point of living in a place like this is that in reality there's very little traffic compared to, or at least where I came from. And you want to leave it like that. If it's going to take me 30 minutes for a 5-minute ride, I'm starting to say, the quality of life is now declining. So that's my perspective.
That's good.
Thank you for sharing.
Yeah, that's good. What do you think about that, Pop?
I think he's right on the money. I think that's the case. And we became more flexible.
All right.
Got to be closer to the mic, Pop.
Hello, Mike.
His name is, it's not Mike, it's a microphone.
Mike's not here?
Mike's not here, Pop.
Okay.
So there's a...
But you were able to, I remember as a kid, the rich uncle had the car,
right?
And
True.
we get in a car and we'd go to a place like Valley Stream Park, which we would thought was at the end of the world, but we always were able to be curious. As a young kids growing up, we always were doing something. Always, maybe not necessarily good things, but we did. We grew up.
We thought they were good at the time.
Yeah.
You just didn't get caught. That's the difference.
Right, well,
I don't know about that.
And there are some statute of limitations, so I think we're okay on most of it,
good,
Pop.
Good. Yeah. But you want to remember we moved out.
I can't remember what I did yesterday,
Yeah,
Pop.
you weren't there, but we went to a house and it needed tender, loving care, you'd say, because we couldn't afford a house in the city. We wanted to buy.
That was out in Levittown, right?
Yeah. And we moved out of a house that you would never notice it when we moved in because we did so much to it. There was another thing we were able to do. We lived in apartments and stuff. You painted, you rented it. The landlord took all the major cares. Now we were there. It was all us.
Yeah, but you also build an equity too, right? You were
Right,
building. You were
absolutely.
building. You were.
It worked. It worked to get you up to a better standard of life. And then
You sold it.
we always talk about technology. The old folks said, yeah, get the kids off the phone and stuff like that. Well, if you had a phone, in some apartments or some houses or apartments,
You had a common phone.
they didn't have phones. To have a phone was great, and you only used it when you had to use it. You couldn't say, well, I want to call up Jerry. You just left Jerry, you know? So you made it a point, so if you
Yeah,
wanted
but
to
you
talk to
screamed out of
Jerry,
the
you kinda-
window, right? Right. You would scream out of the window, "Hey, Jerry," and that's what you did.
But it was a communication. It was a face-on-face. That's something I miss today with the, put the phone down, let's talk face-to-face.
Oh, I agree.
Let's get a little humanity into it, and a discipline and respect for each other. And,
I will.
I mean, that'll come sooner or later, I think, But it was great. I mean, I have no complaints.
I can speak for me. I think I can also speak for Jerry to a certain degree. I know there's a common conversation between Yona and I. Put the phone down, right? And it just becomes addictive, right? Put the phone down. Now at least I do. I justify, well, I'm doing business. Well, am I really doing business, right?
You got the ball game on.
Put the. Shh, don't tell Yona. She thinks I'm working. But then you have look me in the face and have a conversation. Look, this is great, Jerry, what you're doing for us. But we're at 12:05. But even though we're on just social media, what 20 platforms? How many platforms we're on, which is way above my pay grade. You know what we're doing? We're having a long-form conversation.
Exactly.
How about this from Kevin Higgins? This is supposed to be a show about real estate. The saying goes, they aren't making any more dirt. Well, they aren't making any more family either. Jerry and Keith, this is by far your best show ever.
Oh, wow.
Your panel hit a home run today. Perfect perspective during imperfect times.
What's old is new again. That was no pun at you, Pop, by the way.
Keep on bringing up that old.
I'm going to bring up that old thing.
82 years young.
That's right. That's how you have to. That's how you say. I'm 65 years young.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
So you've got a show to do. It is, and I'm taking this gentleman out for.
Where are you going to take him?
I don't know, wherever he wants to go. It's
McDonald's?
No, that is not happening.
Citizen Burger Bar?
Wherever he wants to go, it's my treat.
Here you go.
You all are welcome to go, but you got to show.
You got a great son.
You got to show.
Great
thank
son.
you. Well,
You got great friends, too.
the apple, I'd like to hope didn't fall far from the tree.
Agreed. That's what happened. This gentleman is Xavier Urpí. This gentleman is Keith Smith. This gentleman is Pop Smith.
Pop.
Pop.
Even his great grandson says Pop.
It's awesome.
Yeah, I think we're gonna have to work out something on the headstone. By the way, Pop. Not that we want to be morbid about it, but I think it's just going to be Pop. What do you think?
Okay, whatever. It's funny. I think that's another thing. You come to a certain age, you got to think about things like that.
Well, that's one of
the conversations.
I don't know how you and your family do that, but this is something that's common amongst New Yorkers. I don't know if your family, but nothing's really off.
Oh no, absolutely.
There is literally nothing off topic.
Never.
And nothing. There's nothing off topic. There's nothing forbidden. Right? We all respect.
You have that little tact.
A little bit of tact and all that stuff.
Just a little.
But Yvonne, I'm gonna. Can I do this for a minute?
Sure. Please.
So a little kudos to Pop. So Yvonne is 27. Pop is 86. And we
82.
82, sorry.
Yeah, 82.
Don't rush it.
Well, yeah, really.
Don't rush it.
My dyslexia kicked in my head. But what I was trying to get at,
that would be 28. It was dyslexia. Okay, I'm sorry. Go
No
ahead.
worries. I've now totally lost it. Thanks,
This is
Miller.
where we go to the latte factor.
Whatever. 26, 24, 28, 82, it's all those numbers. But we'll kind of close on this, and I see if this happens in your family. So Yvonne is younger, lives out in Seattle, has a different belief, maybe thinks a little bit to one side of a table, right? Pop is thinking to the other side of the table. And we had a dinner at the house, which we tend to do when everybody's together. And I sat on the edge of this table like this, and Pop was on one side, Yvonne was on one side. I'll leave the topic out of it because I don't want to do it, but they were having a discussion. One was on one side, one was on the other side. They were very passionate about their discussion. He listened, she listened. They exchanged thoughts. They didn't come to an agreement, but it was all over. They hugged and said, "Hey, I love you. So what are you doing tomorrow?" And you know, if we as a nation, we as a city, we're talking about a thing that's going to happen today at 3 o'clock. If we can get to that, man, that's a home run.
Well said.
That's a home run.
Well,
That's
you
all we're trying.
respect everybody. That's another thing, you know. You can't tell a book by its cover.
Dad, you got to talk into the microphone, Pop.
Just,
Pop, you got to lean towards the microphone.
Mike's waiting
Mike,
for you.
hey, Mike.
Yeah, Mike showed up again.
Hey, man, you know, you got to respect everybody. Big, tall, short, what are
Exactly.
they? The ethnicity or the diversity that we shared is when my friends, when I was young, they were first generation, mostly Italian, German, Greek, Irish, Filipino. We had, colored black people. Was right neighbors with us. You know, you mingled. You exchange hellos, greetings, goodbyes.
Somebody needed help, you helped them.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Well, I just wanted to end on that. That was a real aha moment as a father, to sit and watch a granddaughter and a father have a discussion about a topic that both were on two different sides of the fence. And everybody was like, "Hey, what are you doing tomorrow? You know, love
Well,
you."
I pulled rank on him.
No, you tried. let me tell you something.
She's still watching, Pop.
Yeah,
she's still watching.
We all know nobody can pull rank on Yvonne, right? Because that Division I athlete will come back at you. So, gentlemen, thank you. He's got a show to do in 15 minutes. Poor Judah's over there working his tail off, trying to do it. All we're going to do is drink beer and have burgers. So, thank you.
Sounds like fun.
Thank you. Look, man, appreciate everything you do.
Our pleasure.
I love Batman and Robin.
Same. Keith Smith, Xavier Urpí, Pop Smith, Judah Wickower, Liza the dog. My name is Jerry. This is Real Talk, presented by Yes Realty Partners, where you never know what you're going to get. We'll see you in 19 minutes on the I Love CVille show. Take care, guys.
Well, thank you, gentlemen. I didn't want to do
thank you.
that. I hope I didn't embarrass you.
You were great.
Good. Xavier, very nice meeting you.